What happened at your work which caused multiple people to all quit at once? Worked at a Wendy's and one of the regional managers started running a store because they wouldn't find new managers to replace the old ones. Well, anyways, this guy practically ran the place into the ground. Before he started running the store, most everyone liked working there as it was a good environment. A few months after, a couple of people quit because of him. And one day I roll in at 9 to help open the store and he comes out to my car as soon as I park. I was 15 minutes early and usually just sat in my car until 9 and tells me, "Hey, I need to start early because the 3 openers just quit on me." We managed to get the store open and had a number of people from other stores help run the place until the people from the next shift came in. A couple days later I hear the full story of what happened from a coworker. The regional manager is supposed to be at the store at 7 or so, and the openers 30 minutes later. He didn't actually show up until 8:30. So when the openers, already pissed at being at work really early and not being on the clock, saw the regional manager roll in and knew it was gonna be an awful shift, all decided that they were done with him and just quit right there. So at least 6 people quit because of him by the time I left the place. Probably more left after me. At one of my old jobs, new management took over and she was just awful. She stripped me of a promotion that the previous manager gave me that I worked my ass off for. Put trainees on a loan during a holiday. Just a whole bunch of shit. Like 5 of us got together after the final straw and quit together. Same thing happened at my old job. My sister took my job because I moved away and she needed one. She told me that the new manager was useless. She would give herself weeks off at a time. The trucks would never be unloaded on time and she would overwork everyone else. My sister quit with everyone else when they quit. When I was 16, I worked in the concession stand at a minor league baseball stadium. Minimum wage at the time was $5 per hour. This job paid $8. And it was always in the evenings, so it was perfect work for a high school student. The only bad thing was our management was terrible. The main manager would throw toddler tantrums about once a shift over stupid bullshit. Like not ordering enough of a specific beer she did the ordering, or running out of pre-cut lemons for tea. One night the stadium was running a promotion and it was incredibly busy, easily 2 to 3x the normal volume of customers. We were all working our asses off handling multiple roles each with absolutely no downtime. Although we all cleaned as we worked, nobody had a chance to do thorough cleaning for the whole shift because of the never-ending horde of hungry baseball fans. The manager showed up 3 to 4 hours late per usual and throws the biggest tantrum ever over the unswept floor. Finally, she announces, "Listen up, you lazy minimal work gets minimal pay. Everybody is being paid minimum wage tonight because you slobs won't clean up anything." Both of our bartenders and the bar back quit on the spot, which caused a chain reaction. We all took off our aprons and hats to leave. She blocked the exit and was red in the face from screaming. So one of the cooks climbed out of one of the big serving windows where we served customers. So I did the same and most of the staff followed. Bear in mind that this all happened in front of like 200 plus customers. Of course, my final paycheck got lost, so I had to file a wage theft complaint with the Texas Workforce Commission. How'd that wage theft complaint go down? Sounds like it'd be super satisfying just to slip the envelope into the letterbox. Filed the complaint. Submitted my clock in and clock out receipts for the week we got paid weekly and previous pay stubs to verify my pay rate. After like 3 weeks, I was contacted by the person handling my claim that my previous employer had mailed me a check for the whole amount I was owed plus a penalty. The check arrived within a few days. The penalty was $25. Later that year, the same employer refused to provide my W-2 for tax filing, so I filed a complaint with the IRS and used my pay stubs with a special form to complete my taxes. I don't know what happened regarding that, but that lady's life imploded for non-work related reasons. She got caught cheating on her husband, then got caught faking cancer for sympathy. I did landscape construction. The cheap-ass owner kept taking bigger and bigger projects while never hiring more help. We were all overwhelmed, stressed, and anxious as hell. One of our foremen quit and I followed suit a few days later. 2 more guys quit the next day. He was down to 3 guys for the obscene amount of work he wanted to do. Of course everything gets way behind schedule, but he's convinced it's not his fault at all. He went out of business less than a year later. I once worked at a company that ramped up from 4 to 8 people in a small shop. Things were busy, but the owner kept making rookie mistakes like not buying material in bulk because he didn't like seeing a big bill all at once. Then he fired the 3 guys that stuck around so they could collect unemployment, while he paid the difference under the table. Super shady. He ended up selling out to a competitor. Not sure what he is up to now. Cancelled all raises and bonuses for everyone except the CEO, his wife financial and HR, and his son utterly useless IT in a year where we have record profits and brought in almost double the clients on top of announcing they aren't looking to hire more people when we were already overwhelmed. Good part about it was when the majority of us quit, they lost almost every single client shortly afterwards to their competitors, and the company is now defunct. Worked at a data company. The guys in the sales department around all day. They'd literally be in the parking lot drinking beer and racing RC cars. When it came to handling accounts and clients, they frequently gave away free accounts in order to retain customers and make their own sales numbers look good, and somehow they got away with it. Meanwhile, there were dozens of programmers and database nerds working tirelessly behind the scenes to integrate a bunch of complicated data and make it easy to access via the website. Yearly holiday announcements come around, and upper management decides to send the entire sales team to Hawaii for an all-expense-paid vacation. When the furious developers asked why they were just taking the sales team, the confused CEO literally said, "Well, I guess we could ask the sales team to pick one person from each department who helped them the most this year, and take them too." The programmers and engineers were livid, and walked out in droves. Gee, I wonder why the company tanked. Oh boy, I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings for a few years as a line cook. 2 different stores. Same pay. It was the type of work where you ask for a raise and they scoff and say yeah, me too. Anyways, I had been pretty dead set on quitting sooner or later. Our kitchen was very small. Most people ended up closing 4 to 5 days a week with doubles on the weekends, while still attending school full-time as it was a college town. On Super Bowl Sunday, a useless coworker who ducked out in the bathroom most the shift finally stopped showing, and in response the managerial staff delegated closing to my pal Jay. Dude was a delight to be around. Hands down the best coworker ever. Jay had told him that due to being a full-time student, he no longer wanted to be first in last out 4 p.m. to 12 a.m., 1 a.m. on the weekends. They basically told him to go himself, and that they don't have any more shifts for him. Immediately, me and one other cook walked to the office and quit on the spot. Buffalo Wild Wings lost 4 cooks on Super Bowl Sunday, leaving them with 7 full-time students on the schedule. It was a managerial shit show. I had a similar situation at Grease Monkey in high school. They kept scheduling me for 3 close. When I applied, I made it abundantly clear that I got out of school at 3, and would get there at 3:10. About week 2, the manager pulls me into the office and says, "You have been late every day." When I told him I have school, he said, "You need to decide what's important." I laughed, as I thought he was kidding. He wasn't. I told him he could let me go if it wasn't going to work, but he begrudgingly let me stay on. He got fired for making anal sex jokes about a customer, while she was in earshot. The new manager hated me from day one. Since I got special treatment because I'm in school, I asked for a day off to go to Six Flags. About 2 weeks previous, the day comes and he calls me at about 9 and says, "Coworker called in sick. Need you here now." I told him I was on my way to Denver with a group and that I asked for the day off. He huffed and yelled, "Grow the up. Get here, or you can come get your last check." I said I'll be there in an hour, and went to Six Flags. Picked up my last check a couple weeks later and was accused of stealing a coat. I was hired by the new owners to replace the existing manager. I was under the impression that he was moving on to another job somewhere, so after about 4 days I ask him where he's headed and if he's excited. He just looks blankly at me and says, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm just training you as the assistant manager." Right. The look I gave him must have been a great tip-off because he got up and walked into one of the new owner's offices. After about 30 seconds they were screaming at each other. Then he just storms out of the office, grabs his stuff, give me the finger, and leaves. Over the next few days I'm trying to calm things with the employees. They're not faulting me, but now have a very bad taste in their mouths about the new ownership. Over about a 7 to 10 day time period, my team shrank from 15 people down to 3. I hobbled along with that the best I could while we tried to hire new people, but the new owners were offering so little we had trouble finding people. After 3 months or so of that, I started to get fed up and overwhelmed, and when the owners started to get on me about missed deadlines, I had it. We were still only at 5 people, 2 of which were brand new and still training. They didn't allow me to refuse work or push deadlines out. They expected the same output as a 15-person team. So after my 3rd day in a row of being berated for missing a deadline that was impossible to make, I quit. A well-known colleague committed suicide, and we were told by management via a brief side note in an email about stats at the end of the day. It caused a lot of upset in the office, and quite a few people didn't return after this. I'm the manager of a retail store, and I had found out a cashier was stealing product by scamming reward card benefits. I came up with a detailed incident report to present to this employee, and I was under the assumption it was just her. After I confronted her in a reasonable manner, she freaked out and got really angry and quit on the spot. She was using fake accounts instead of using a customer's reward card to get herself points and redeem them for gift cards. So the customers weren't getting the points they are owed, which is a headache for me if they notice and complain. The next day every other cashier called me and quit, and after thinking WTF just happened, I found out they were all in on it and were using this lady's fake card on their shifts too. So I'm down 4 cashiers and I have 1 left. This same day my last remaining cashier disappeared for 20 minutes. Turns out she was in the bathroom with another employee doing the nasty. She quits because her dad is a cop and doesn't want to find out she got fired for this, and she also asked me if she should go to urgent care because she didn't take her tampon out before they did it and she couldn't find it. The guy also quit because he didn't care and was moving anyway. I was down to literally managers only. So the first part is the mass exodus and the last part was just for "can you believe this shit?"